Well, hello to my favorite math class, my Math 20-3s. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to do some bar graphs. Bar graphs are probably the easiest ones. I don't know, it's hard to tell, but they're usually pretty easy. I'm going to show you a bunch of different types of bar graphs, and we're just going to do a few examples, and then you can practice the practice sheet that I have posted in your Google Classroom. So make sure you're doing those practice sheets. If you can't print them, that's fine. Write it on a piece of paper, but make sure you do the practice, okay? All right, bar graphs. We're going to have a bunch of different types. We're going to have vertical bar graphs, horizontal bar graphs. The first one here in the yellow is a vertical bar graph, meaning that your bars are going upwards, right? That's all it means. That's called vertical because it's going up. Horizontal means you're going to the side, like that. Horizontal. Just depends on what you prefer. Honestly, I usually almost do vertical. I almost never do horizontal, but realistically, you could do either. So you could change something from vertical to horizontal or vice versa. No problem at all. Usually, what a bar graph is good for is telling you the amount of something. So in this first one, it's telling you the amount of precipitation, that means rain or snow, for each month. So for instance, if I'm reading this one in January, I can tell that it got to about, I don't know, let's say that's 12 millimeters of precipitation. For May, for instance, it got about 35, I would say, millimeters of rain. On the horizontal bar graph, it's doing the exact same thing. It's just tilted over. So this is going to tell me the number of artifacts found and then the type of artifact. So the number of goggles somebody found was out to here, which would be about, I don't know, let's say 3. The number of harpoon tips somebody found was about, I don't know, let's say 13. Right? Same idea. One's just tilted. Vertical versus horizontal. Cool. Multiple vertical ones, or when you just have, and multiple horizontal, same idea, is when you have multiple things for one category. So for instance, if you look at this, this is medals won in the Olympics, and this is by country on the side. And you'll see that in the US, they have 1, 2, 3 different bars for the US because there's 3 different types of medals you could win. There's gold, silver, bronze. So it's still just a regular bar graph. It's just that you now have 3 things for one country. So if I was to read this, the US had 9 golds, they had 15 silver, and they had 13 bronze. And I could do that for any country. So if I looked at Canada, Canada had 14 gold, 7 silver, and 5 bronze. Cool. A multiple horizontal graph's doing the exact same thing. It's just tilted. So if you look over here, scores by team per season. So we have different teams here. If you look here, in 2013 or 2005, I don't know why I'm saying 2013, 2005, there's 3 different teams. There's team A, B, C. I said that in the wrong order, but you'll see that there's 3 different teams for A. 3 different teams for 2005. Oh, I'm stuttering all of my words. So I can look at this and be like, in 2005, team A had 8. Team B had 55. Team C had 5. And that was all for the year 2005. I could do the same thing for, say, 2002. There's 3 bars for 2002. Team C had 10. Team B had 82. Team A had 5. And that all represents 2002. That's a multiple bar graph. Cool. Stacked bar graphs and stacked horizontal graphs. Just put those categories on top of each other. So if, for instance, if we look at this, if you want to do the number of medals, you could have stacked these medals, right? I could have gone 9 gold, and then on top of the 9 gold, I could have gone 15 more silver, and then I could have gone 13 more bronze to make one really big bar graph. And that would be a stacked bar graph. The reason you like to do stacked bar graphs is sometimes it's nice to see the total, right? So if you look down here, we have stacked bar graphs. In week 1, They had type C of whatever this is. They had 40 of them. In type 2 or type B, they had from 40 to 60, so there was 20 of them. And then type A went from 60 to about, let's say, 85, so that would be another 25. So you can see it's still the same idea. It's just now that they've stacked them on top of each other so that you can see the total number of types you have. The grand total for this week 1 would have been 85, approximately. Yeah, it's a stacked bar graph. So it's taking the things that you could have had side by side and then putting one on top of each other. Same thing, you could do the same graph horizontally. So, for instance, we're looking at engagement. So, things that people are doing. In the first quarter, Facebook went from here to here, which is about, I don't know, let's say 45. Then you had Instagram. Instagram went from here to here, which is up to 100. So, we'll say there's 55 total in there. Then you had Twitter. Twitter went from here to here, which is looking like it's about 20. And then we had LinkedIn. LinkedIn goes from here to here, which is going to be about 60, we'll say. And the reason why you want to stack it is because then I can look at this and easily see that for the entire quarter, all these things together equaled about 175. Right? I can see the total easily because they're all stacked on top of each other. It's not easy to tell the little numbers inside, but it is easy to tell the total. Cool. Those are bar graphs. We're going to make a couple bar graphs. We're going to answer a couple questions, and then we're going to be done. Let's make a bar graph for the number of quarters collected. So this chart right here is telling me that on January 4th, I collected 12 quarters. So if I look at January 4th, I want to go up its number of dollars collected. So 4 quarters equals $3. That means on the 4th, I have $3 worth of quarters. On January 8th, I had $4 worth of quarters. So that means my bar graph on the 8th would look like this. On the 12th, I had 24 quarters. That's $6. So my bar would look like this. You're going to notice that I like to leave gaps in between my bars so it's easier to kind of see in between them. What color can I use? On the 16th, we have 32 quarters. That would be $8. On the 20th, we have 8 quarters, which is $2. On the 24th, we have 20 quarters, that's $5. And the last one, the 28th, we had 4 quarters, which is just $1. There you go. We have made a bar graph. Honestly, pretty easy. It's kind of nice to read bar graphs. Pretty popular type of graph. Down here, we have a bar graph already filled out for us. So it's dozens of eggs laid per day. So you have each day across the bottom and then the number of eggs laid in dozens. So the first question says, how many eggs were laid on Tuesday and Wednesday? So if we look at Tuesday, it goes all the way up to 8 dozen. So on Tuesday was 8 times 12 for 96 eggs. That's on Tuesday. On Wednesday, look at Wednesday, we go up here. It was 7 dozen, so 7 times 12 because a dozen is 12. And it gives me 84 eggs laid. So on Tuesday there was 96, Wednesday there's 84. Part B, how many more eggs were laid on Tuesday than Friday? So on Tuesday, I already know there's 96. On Friday, if I look, there was only 1 dozen, right? So that means I would have 96 from Tuesday minus 12 on Friday, telling me that I had 84 more eggs on Tuesday than Friday. Part C, the following week, twice the number of eggs were laid than the listed week. How many eggs were laid during the following week? So if it was twice as many, that means 2 times as many. So I have to figure out how many total I have from this. On Monday, I have 4 dozen. So that's 4 times 12 is 48. On Tuesday, I had 96, which I already calculated. On Wednesday, I have 84, which I already calculated. On Thursday, I have 3 dozen, which is 36. On Friday, I had 12 eggs, which I already added. On Saturday, I had 6 dozen, which would be 72. And on Sunday, I had 5 dozen, which would be 60. So if you add all those values up, that'll tell you how many eggs you had for the week. And then we can double it to figure out how many we got the next week. So that equals 408. We want to times that by 2. And we get 816 eggs laid the next week. Cool. That's reading a bar graph. We pop down here. If you want to try to answer these questions, feel free to pause and just give it a shot and then see if you got the right answer. I'll go through right now. So if we look at our graph, we have the years across the bottom and then the average price of a house in thousands of dollars. First question says, what was the average price of a new single-family home in 2005? So we go to 2005, and we want to do single-family homes, and we want new homes. New is gray. So in 2005, the new homes were $240,000. So it'd be $240,000. In B, during what years was there a drop in price of resale of single-family homes? So when did the price decrease? That's what a drop in price would mean. So if you look from 2002 to 2003, the numbers went up, right? It went from 172 to 175, 175 to 196. And if you look, it keeps going up until in 2008, it was 350 for a resale. It dropped to 330. So that would be our drop. It was in 2009. 2009 dropped. C, when did resale homes sell more than new homes? So resale homes actually cost more than a brand new house in 2007 and 2006. You can see that the resale homes, the black line, was actually above the new homes, the gray line. So in 2006 and 2007, that's what happened. Crazy. That's pretty rare that happens, but it does happen sometimes. It's actually happening right now. So it's a pretty cheap time to build a house right now compared to buying an older one. All right, use the information above from the double bar graph to create a stacked bar graph showing the total sales for single-family homes. So if we wanted to do a stacked bar graph, what we're going to do is we're going to write out our years down here. We'll do 2002 right here. Then 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, and 2009. To do a stacked bar graph means you're going to add the values on top of each other. So for instance, for 2002, I would want to add these two values to become 347. And then I need to stack them on top of each other so they get all the way up to 347. To make my chart, remember, we always want to find the biggest value we're going to go to. So the biggest value is probably going to be over here when I add these values together. Adding these two would give me 725. Adding these two gets me 728. So I know I need to get my bar up to about 750. Right? So if I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, I want my top of my bar to be 750. And then we need to divide that by how many spots there are. So if we look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. If I go 750 and I divide it by 34, it tells me that if I go up by about 22, then it should work out. I'm going to go by 25 because that's a much nicer number, right? We want to try to go up by decent numbers. So that means every erase, please. There we go. That means every little jump will be $25,000. You don't have to write that out. So like I'll do the first few, so 25, 50, 75, 100, and so on and so forth. But you could just see that it's like, okay, if I'm going by 25s, then that means every 1, 2, 3, 4 would be 100. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and call that 200 right there. Then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, go 300. 1, 2, 3, 4, 400. 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. 1, 2, 3, 4, 600. 1, 2, 3, 4, 700. 1, 2, 3, 4, 800. And at least now we're using most of our chart, right? And that should always be your goal when you're building these charts. Try your best to fill it as much as you can. We knew that in 2002 it was going to be 347, so we need to draw a bar graph that goes up to 347, which would be about here. So there's our bar. For 2003, if I add these values together, that'll tell me how stacked I need to be. 175 plus 196 would be 371. That means my bar graph needs to go up to 371, which should be about here. And you can do that for the rest of the years. I'm just going to do the first couple. We'll do 2004 as well, and then I'll probably stop so I don't bore you to death. If I add these two values together, 194 plus 219 gives me a total of 413. That means my bar graph should go up to about 413, like that. Now, this is just currently a bar graph. It is not a stacked bar graph. What makes it a stacked bar graph is if I split this up. So in 2002, I need to make it very clear where one half starts and one half ends. So it said 172 of the houses were resale homes. So I should have a line at 172, which is right about there. And that should be shaded differently than the other part. And that makes it a stacked one. So now I can look at it. I can easily see the total from 2002. The total was right here, like 350-ish, just underneath. But I can also look at chunks, and I can see the new home versus the resale home because my first bar gives me my resale. My second bar gives me my new home. So I need to do that for my next two as well. In 2003, we had 175 and then 196. So I need to make sure I'm splitting that up. So 175 is right here. So that's my resale homes. And then 176 is my new homes. In 2004, I need to do the same thing. So 2004, it was 194 and 219. So 194 means that my bar should go right about here, just underneath 200. And that gives me my resale on the bottom. And then I can put my new homes on the top. And that makes it a stacked bar graph. Cool. Remember that at the end of this unit, we're going to be doing a project for our last week of December here. And you will have to make a bar graph. You'll have to make every type of graph that we learn in your little project. Cool. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully I see you guys soon.